It is nuclear today. That is the main topic du jour in Canberra. Let's bring in the Deputy Opposition Leader, Sussan Ley. Sussan, good to see you. So looking at the reporting this morning about nuclear sites that have been identified, does this all have approval from the party?
Well, we'll go through our normal processes. We'll consult with the Australian people and we'll have more to say later, as you've indicated, Pete. But let's face it, policy in this country around energy under this government is an absolute train wreck. We are paying the highest electricity prices in the world. You've just noted on your program that today is the coldest day so far this year. There will be Australians who are choosing between heating and eating. There will be families who are wondering whether they can pay their electricity bill or feed their family and fill up their trolley at the supermarket. These are real issues that real Australians are facing. And with 90% of baseload power due to exit the system by 2034, the government has no answer to that. So we want cheaper, cleaner, consistent power, and we've said that nuclear should be part of that mix.
Just on the nuclear policy though, will there be a phone hookup next hour that will ultimately decide whether it's approved or not by the party?
Pete, I never talk about our internal processes.
Well, it's been reported there, so you confirm that?
Can you confirm those details? Well, lots of things have been reported. I think it's clear that there will be a conversation and there will be an announcement later this morning. And I urge people who care about the future of this country, who want a policy around energy, around electricity, around manufacturing, which is my particular area in opposition. I stand on factory floors across this country every day and I see that we've got record insolvencies, 3 times as many in the manufacturing and construction industry going out of business.
So where will they go?
This 2 years of Labor government,
so you'll rubber
the
stamp
highest
it this
number
morning?
of insolvencies.
Where will they go? That's the big question. Where will they go?
Well, you wouldn't expect me to have a scoop at 7 a.m. on your program, even though I'd love to,
why not,
Pete.
Sussan?
But what I will say is that we will consult with communities, unlike this government that is forcing renewable energy solutions on communities like the Hunter, like the southwest of WA, with offshore wind that communities have not been consulted on. So consultation is critical to this, and we've always said that, and it will remain at the core of the policies that we bring forward.
So in the
communities matter.
Yeah, no doubt. In the past, national seats in Queensland, plus you've got the Hunter in New South Wales, they've been earmarked. Are we on the right path there? They'll be announced today?
We've said that it makes sense to connect new nuclear technologies to existing brownfield sites where you have the grid already in place.
Okay, so the Hunter is one. So the New South Wales Premier said a moment ago that he won't support it.
I'm not naming them, Pete. Let me be clear.
Okay.
The New South Wales Premier. I wish that Chris Minns was focused on the cost of living for the people of New South Wales. Clearly he's not. By the way, he does have a nuclear reactor in the suburbs of southern southwest Sydney. It's called Lucas Heights. It delivers nuclear medicine technology that everybody in this country would know someone who's benefited from that, particularly with cancer treatment.
Yeah.
He's also had to extend the life of his coal-fired power stations because he knows that he has to keep the lights on in New South Wales.
But how do you get around state nuclear bans? You got them in New South Wales, you got them in Queensland too. So can the Commonwealth override state bans?
We'll work through all that. We have a sensible proposition to put to the Australian people. And I know that when we talk about nuclear, people are starting to tune in, understanding that if 19 of the 20 biggest economies in the world are using nuclear, if it makes sense for cleaner baseload power, because it's zero emissions, if it helps us get to 2050 net zero, if it does all of the things that we want it to do in terms of emissions and in terms of securing affordable, cheaper power for Australians, why would people not consider it? And I believe they will.
Overturning a moratorium, though, that wouldn't be easy. That's not something that would be done in one term, I would have thought.
Well, new laws are part of this, but the overwhelming proposition, Pete, is what it delivers for Australia. And I just simply urge those who reject this, and that would include members of the Labor Party, although I also know
but it's members of the Liberal Party too, right? So if David
will...
Crisafulli wins in Queensland at this year's election, which is expected, he's not a fan either.
Lots of ifs, lots of considerations and hard work to do, yes. But overwhelmingly, we have to solve this energy train wreck that is the federal government's policy right now. And just come back to that central proposition, Pete, because if 90% of our baseload power, we can't do without it, is leaving the system in the next decade, what is it going to be replaced with? Now, the government says it's renewables only. We can see that that's actually not going to happen. The government talks about hydrogen. It's not at scale. It's not even something they can demonstrate works in that short time frame. And they talk about batteries that aren't going to provide the storage for their renewables. So they are in a complete mess over this, and they need to be put on the sticky paper and asked what they are going to do for families, households and manufacturing businesses. Because for the Prime Minister to run around this country and talk about a future made in Australia, how can you do that with energy costs where they are?